What is going on, everybody? AJ Riley back again for your favorite Detroit sports show, Beyond the Box. Not with Eric Vincent this week, or with Neil Brush from Rain City Roar filling in for Eric tonight as well, just as he did so wonderfully on the live last night. And for everybody that was on the live, thank you so much for showing up and showing your support. Yes. We had a blast. Make sure you catch us live again on Thursday at 9 o'clock. Neil, we got a full pack show ready to go. We're going to talk about the dreaded backup quarterback position that Brad Holmes said was a need, but yet has done nothing about.
He's done nothing about.
And then we also want to get into free agency. Like, who are some free agents that Brad Holmes needs to sign in the next, week or so to kind of round out what has been a very good free agency. But before we get to that, I want to remind you that wherever you're watching this, but specifically on YouTube, if you are watching this show right now, make sure you support this show with super stickers or the super chat. Even though it's not a live video, you can still click that $sign that is down below and show support for local creators like Beyond the Box and Detroit Sports Nation to help support our building of this Detroit sports community. We would love your support. We already love the views that we've gotten, but we would also appreciate you clicking that $sign down there. So make sure you hit that to show your support to us so we can continue to build this Detroit sports community. Now, Neil, backup quarterback has been a bugaboo for the Detroit Lions. We were stuck with Nate Sudfeld, who luckily only had to take like 2 knees last season. That was it. And Brad Holmes knows that he messed up. He even admitted that he messed up with the backup quarterback position. But yet he has not addressed it yet. What do you make of that?
I hope he's got a plan.
Okay.
I hope he has a plan because, it's one of those things where if right now, if Goff goes down, the Lions are not a good football team.
That is very true.
Like, it's not even close. They're not going to be competitive if he goes down. And I worry about that.
I do too. They were very fortunate last year that he did not suffer an injury. For sure.
Yep.
But who's out there? I hope so too. Like, that's what I'm sitting here wondering and scratching my head about, because we had a great conversation on the live last night, right? It was, we said Jared Goff has the most to prove, but does that mean that they're going to maybe, with all the free agent moves they've made, draft a quarterback early? Which I'm not a huge fan of, but I know that some people, like you, aren't opposed to it.
Nope.
But are you comfortable with a rookie being your backup? Specifically, if that rookie is Anthony Richardson?
If it's him,
really?
Yeah. Just because he's got so much more than just an arm. He's an all-around versatile football player, and he can make stuff happen with his legs, and he doesn't have to do anything crazy, but I'm sure that Ben Johnson wouldn't ask him to do anything crazy. He would use him as well as he possibly could. But it's one of those things where if we have the opportunity to get in a position where we could have a quarterback as a backup at a low price point and say, hey, okay, we just lost our starter for the season because of whatever, and we're still going to play competitive football, I think we need to explore those options and try to make that happen if possible. And I don't think that there's very many free agent quarterbacks out there right now that you can have that conversation about. I was looking at the
free agent tracker on SpotRack. The top name, Carson Wentz. I don't want Carson Wentz as our backup.
It'd be kind of weird, though, having number 1 and number 2 from that draft on the same team.
That'd be interesting. That wouldn't be that bad. I forgot they were in the same draft.
Yeah. Not saying I would like the talent level.
Number 2 on that list was Matt Ryan, the ageless wonder. And number 3 was the retired Tom Brady. Like, what are we picking from at this point? Because we obviously didn't prioritize it in free agency, even though we thought that we were going to. Baker Mayfield's with the Bucks. Tyler Heineke went to Atlanta. Gardner Minshew went to Indianapolis.
That's the one that keeps
Gardner
getting away, man. I would
Yeah,
think Minshew as a backup.
we said this on this show a couple weeks ago. Like, he would have made a great backup. But Brad, he talked the talk. He just didn't walk the walk.
Yet.
You know what I mean? Like, we have some names. We have some names that they could potentially sign.
Yep.
I don't love any of them at all. One of your names we had to change out because he got signed last night, David Blau. Bring back that guy. But I don't know. This situation scares me because if they don't address it, then they're clearly going to have to waste a draft pick on a quarterback.
Yep.
Which makes me nervous that they're going to waste a high draft pick on a quarterback. So I don't know. Let's get into these names, though. And one of them we share. So why don't we just talk about him right off the rip? Teddy Bridgewater. He's still out there. Serviceable backup. Not phenomenal. But can at least keep you in games where maybe your defense could win you one.
Yep. I would sleep very well tonight if Teddy Bridgewater was the backup quarterback.
Why? What do you like about Teddy Bridgewater?
He's got starting experience. He wasn't a bad quarterback. He was somebody who is able to manage a game, and that's all that you can really ask of a backup quarterback. He had the opportunity to do that. Was it last year with Miami?
Yeah.
When Tua went down. Did a decent job. Did a whole lot better than our guys would have done, I think.
Again, luckily we did not have to deal with that.
Luckily we did not. But just his level of experience and his past performance, and again, he's somebody who can be an asset from the bench also. You can't put enough money on something like that.
No, I like Teddy. 71.2 overall PFF grade. He's only 30 years old, so he's not, about to kick the bucket or anything. And like you said, stepped in pretty decently for Tua in Miami. I don't think he lit the world on fire. But still a guy that can make things happen. And would be a good option to shelter whoever that is that your draft pick is. Whether that's a Anthony Richardson because you reached for him in the first round, or a Hendon Hooker who you got in the second round, or an Aiden McConnell that you picked up in the 6th round. You're not like throwing him into the fire because Jared Goff got hurt. You're allowing him kind of a shelter from the fire a little bit. And Bridgewater seems like the best candidate still available.
I wouldn't feel bad about that at all. That would be the most comfortable.
The question is going to be, is the price right? That's what I think the question is going to be.
Between 5 and 8.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to pull it up on Spot Rack really quick just to see if they have any type of market value for him. But I can't imagine that's going to be like a phenomenal deal. I think it would be okay, something you could live with. But you also have spent a decent chunk of change. You talked about this last night on the live. You spent a decent chunk of change in free agency. Like, you've used that cap pretty significantly. Yep. So is there money to sign a backup quarterback?
Well, I'm gonna need to see how much we spent on the long snapper yesterday,
because that's gonna break the bank.
But I think they had around $10 million left before they signed Gardner Johnson.
And I think his cap hit's not as massive as you would assume.
Yep. And then Okora took the pay
Huge
cut
pay cut
yesterday.
Yeah, $9 million he took on Monday.
So napkin math, they probably got about 15 left to play with. Got to save a few for the rookies.
14.4 for my calculations, based on projections. So, but again, salary cap is just
Good
top
luck.
51 guys too. So it's not
Yep.
the entirety of their 53-man roster either. So that helps. But I don't know, who's your second guy? If Bridgewater's the top guy, who's your second guy that you would want them to sign?
If you can't win games, you might as well sell jerseys.
Oh man.
Cam Newton. Cam can come in there and lose just as well as anybody else.
He hasn't played since 2021.
It's okay. Neither have I.
Okay. Neither have any of us, right?
No, it's one of those things where it would put butts in the stands. It would get there would be attention, national
Do
level.
you think it
attention,
would though?
Sell some jersey.
Like, has the
I think it
novelty
would.
of Cam worn off?
I think that he would still, if he had the opportunity to be on a team, he would still find a way to get in front of a microphone.
Of course.
Or he would be found and put in front of a microphone. It's all about making money. The league is
Doesn't
all
seem
about
like that
making
right
money.
now, though. Culture seems like the big thing around the Detroit Lions.
Around the Lions, yes.
Does that fit? Listen, I don't necessarily hate it. Even though I think Cam showed how unable he was to throw the ball when he was with the Patriots in 2021.
Did he
Not
throw the ball?
much. And then he went back to Carolina and did nothing.
Yeah.
Yes, he's out there. And there were reports that surfaced on Monday that he is throwing at Auburn's pro day. You would get him like he would be the cheapest out of anybody, most likely.
I just look at it as if you're not going to win, it might as well be fun, and you might as well make some money while you're at it.
We're not making the money though.
Because there's nobody else. There's no.
You want the Fords to make the money?
But there's nobody else out there.
You want the Fords to make the money?
I want the Lions on
Okay.
TV.
Are they getting there with Cam? You
At
think?
least once, I think.
Well, yeah, I guess it is different from you. If you guys don't know, Neil's on the West Coast, so he doesn't necessarily get our local broadcasts. So I get it.
No.
Okay. So you got to see them play Green Bay at the end of the season last year. How many other games did you get to watch?
Well, this is the thing. So we watched all the games, but we have to go to. None of us had satellites, so we had to go to the bar every week.
Yeah,
which is
so
a
terrible.
horrible thing.
Yeah, I
Hate going
bet.
to bars. They just all the beer and all the food, and it's just
Chicken wings.
yuck. But
Yeah.
no, we ended
Okay.
up watching all the games. But like, it would be cool to
Yeah.
watch a game from my couch.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no doubt. Okay. And you want to see that game with Cam Newton as your quarterback?
If I'm going to watch one from my couch, yeah, might as well.
Again, that's assuming that Jared Goff is hurt, so Cam would be in a backup role because Cam's not beating out Jared Goff for starting role by any stretch. The other quarterback
No.
that I had that I think could service a backup role well would be Brandon Allen from Cincinnati. He's stepped in for Joe Burrow a couple of times and done okay. Not great. I don't think he threw it like even 3 passes last season, but he did have a 75 rounded up PFF grade last year. Purely a backup, but he can't step in and be solid. I don't love these suggestions. I don't think they're great necessarily choices because we waited too long.
Yeah. They're going to have to
They're
draft
gonna
somebody,
have to,
man.
and that's
I just
that's
don't
a
see how they don't.
dangerous situation to be in.
I don't disagree with you, but I think that that's the corner that they
Or
backed themselves
intentionally
into,
back
and they're
themselves
gonna-
into.
At the end of the day, I hope what happens is that they're just baiting everybody into making them believe that they're going to take quarterback just so they can trade back out of 6.
But what does that get you?
Extra draft picks.
To let Brad Holmes work his magic. I understand that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think they have they might have a late round guy that they just note from like whatever North Dakota State Community College or something like that, where Brad Holmes likes to hang out and scout people that they know is going to be the next great thing, and that he'll be there at the last pick around 7, and
they don't have a pick in round 7.
Right off the sunset.
They have 2 in round 6.
Round 6.
And then they go from there.
If they trade back out of the first spot, they can get a
there you go.
pick.
Oh my gosh.
I think that they might be looking at somebody that they're fairly confident that nobody else is looking at.
Okay, but
I know there's only so many quarterbacks out there. They've all been that.
The one guy, and I've said this on this show before, and I don't know if you even know who this is, but the one guy that I've kind of had my eye on for a couple of months is a guy named Clayton Tune from Houston.
Is it TH?
Clayton Tune, Tune. Yeah.
Oh, Tune. No.
He's kind of a guy. I watched some tape on him. I was like, that looks good. And average draft position in the 200s. Like, he's definitely somebody you can get in the 6th round. But he wouldn't be ready to back up Jared Goff immediately.
No.
And probably only projects as a backup anyways. Good athletic ability, though. But if you're not drafting a quarterback in the top 3 rounds, you're drafting a perennial backup. So,
agreed.
I don't know. Maybe this has been the chestnut checkers game the whole way, and they're like, we're getting our quarterback at 6. But I don't love that.
I'd be cool with that. As it was pointed out last night, that's playing with house money.
Yeah.
Take that flyer. Get your guy.
How often do you plan on having a top 10 pick, though, in the next few years? You don't.
It's
right.
Your last
so do you waste it on a flyer? Or do you waste 18 on the flyer? Because that's what I was thinking about all day today. I was like, man, like the house money thing makes sense, but couldn't that be the non-house money and 18's the house money?
There.
Like, I know 18's your real pick, and you wouldn't have 6 if you hadn't traded Matthew Stafford. But at the same time, the plan is to not have a top 10 pick for a few years. Do you waste it on a flyer?
Yeah. I'll say this. If one of the top 3 guys are one of the top 3 quarterbacks are available at 6, I don't think we call it a flyer. I think that we call it a logical draft pick. Best player available.
It depends. If one of the top 3 quarterbacks, which we said last night was Stroud, Young, Richardson. We think Levis is 4th.
Yeah.
If one of those guys is available and Jalen Carter is available, which is the best player on the board?
Drafted the quarterback at 18, baby.
Which there will be no one to draft at that point. Yeah, I don't know. This quarterback situation, it's nerve-wracking.
We could. We just have to find a picture of one of the quarterbacks wearing a gas mask and smoking weed out of it.
Laramie Tunsil, you're bringing that up? We literally brought that up last week, too. Like, this guy can't get a break.
Hey, you know what? He slid on draft night. He's what? He's the highest paid tackle.
He's doing all right. Oh, man. All right, let's move on. We're going to stick with free agency, and we're going to get to the 2 targets that the Lions should get to. But before we do that, I want to remind everybody to rep your favorite Detroit sports team, whether it's the Lions, the Tigers, the Bears. Oh, mine. I'm just kidding. The Lions, the Tigers, the Red Wings, or the Pistons. Make sure you head over to gearupdetroit.shop. So you can browse through our range of high-quality, unique, and stylish merchandise for all your favorite Detroit sports team. So gear up for the next game, support your local creators, and make a statement with gearupdetroit.shop. You can always do that right here on YouTube, right down below this video. So make sure to check out gearupdetroit.shop. The Lions have done some shopping and had a pretty good free agency.
Agreed.
But there's still some free agents on the board that we think they should potentially target. I know you gave 2 names. I've got 2 names.
Mm-hmm.
So, Neil, who's your number 1? This is the guy they have to sign to round out free agency.
I will say that looking at this roster right now, the biggest weakness is at defensive tackle. You might look a couple feet behind that and say linebacker.
If you're with us on the live, I did.
Calais Campbell.
Okay.
He's a little long in the tooth, but the guy is a problem.
37 years old.
Get him for a few million bucks. I'd be.
Did play 518 snaps last year though. So like, it's not like he's losing it.
No, and he still impacts the game. Like, he's one of my favorite pastimes is looking at pictures of him standing next to other people. He's just a huge person.
Plug up the middle.
You can't ignore him when he's on the field. And that's all we really need. We need somebody that is just up there taking up bodies and let the hens eat.
I don't hate it. He's listed as a defensive end, though. He plays inside, right?
He plays inside mostly.
I don't hate it. I mean, you can get it cheap, and then that kind of fills a need, and then focuses your attention on a Will Anderson in the draft. Please, I'm going to say that as often as I can, just to speak it into existence. I don't hate. I know.
5 more weeks.
I'm going to say it every show. Trade up for Will Anderson. I don't hate that. It seems like it'd be a low risk, like cheap signing.
You know he's a good character guy.
37 though, man. That's old. That's older than me, and I couldn't play defensive lineman in the NFL. For a myriad of reasons. But definitely because I'm 36 years old. That's the whole reason why I can't play defensive tackle in the NFL. Yeah, other than the fact I'm also like 100 pounds too light and 6 inches too short. And not nearly strong enough or fast enough. But the age is definitely a significant factor.
You're very handsome, though.
I see we have the same look, so right back at you. Bald head and beard. It's the way to go now. If you need fashion advice, just make sure you get the gray out. All right, number 1 free agent for me is Teddy Bridgewater. Like, we've already talked about him.
I wouldn't have guessed that you were going to say that, just because of how average you made it sound.
You have to do something. We can't sign nobody as the backup quarterback again. It cannot be Jared Goff goes down and the season's over. It has to be Jared Goff goes down. He's down for 4 weeks. We need the ship to stay afloat. And Teddy Bridgewater is not a ship sinker. He's not necessarily a captain.
Nope.
But he's at least going to keep the ship upright.
He's a solid Gilligan.
Right? Yeah. So I would sign Ted. Like, if I'm making one more free agent move, I'm signing Teddy Bridgewater. Because then that gives me ultimate freedom in the draft. I don't have to target a quarterback necessarily. I could sign an undrafted free agent if I needed to. You know, somebody like a Stetson Bennett or Max Dugan's not going to get drafted. You could sign them as a undrafted free agent to be your third string guy.
I don't find many flaws in your logic right there.
Thanks.
I don't find any flaws in your logic right there, I'll be honest. That. I forget that you're not Butler. I don't have to avoid saying that you're right.
Shout out to Butler from Rain City Roar. Yeah, I don't know. I just think if there's going to be one more move that you have to make, like, yes, Calais Campbell makes sense, but you have a Lee McNeil. Who's your quarterback number 2 right now? There isn't one. Literally, there is no other quarterback on the roster but Jared Goff.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the actual
Sudfeld
situation.
Was a free agent, and they got rid of the 2 other characters last year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because what was it?
Yeah.
Blau and Boyle? And both of them?
Blau
Not
signed with
options?
the Cardinals last night. I don't even want to know what Tim Boyle's doing because he doesn't need to be anywhere around this franchise. You
He's
have
bad.
to sign. You have to sign a quarterback.
I think you're onto something there, and I wouldn't be surprised if that
I
happens
hope
sooner than
it
later.
does. If our number ones don't get picked, who would you have as number 2?
Well, as much as you love Alex Anzalone, I want to see him on the field as much as possible. Probably go with Bobby Wagner.
That's not going to be cheap. I don't even know if they have the money to sign him, but let's say that they can make it work. I'd be all for it.
Huh?
And then trade Anzalone for a bucket of footballs. Maybe
The
no,
whole
it'd
bucket
probably
or
be
half?
2 footballs and some athletic tape. That's probably the deal you're looking at. I don't know.
No, if they could get... I mean, Wagner still had
He
a
did.
really productive season last year. He still plays at a
Very
very
high.
high level. I think he's still rated in the 90s in Madden. You know, I would take Bobby Wagner in a heartbeat. Again, great character
Yeah.
guy. No
Link
issues
to
there.
the Cowboys though, which I don't like.
They link
They
everybody
do.
to the Cowboys.
They do.
So
Who
tired
just
of
got Brandon
Cowboys.
Cooks recently? It's like
If the Cowboys didn't exist, then people would actually have to report stuff.
I don't even get me started on the Cowboys. I don't think there's a sports franchise I detest more than the Dallas Cowboys. I can't stand them. Like I like the New York Yankees more than I like the Dallas Cowboys.
That's saying a lot.
I like the Houston Astros more than I like the Dallas Cowboys. That's saying a whole heck of a lot because they cheated. But whatever, that's different sport. My number 2 free agent that I would sign to round out free agency and just run it back is DJ Chark. And I know you don't like him from the live that we had last night. I know you're not a huge fan of this. But I feel like you got to run it back. There's no other wide receiver. No other wide receiver to sign. And I would much rather waste a draft pick on a quarterback than a wide receiver. Because Eric and I have had this discussion. I think wide receiver is one of 2 least valuable positions on the offensive side of the ball. I still would sign Shark. Because you still need somebody.
My whole thing is, you need a rotational defensive lineman. You need a solid linebacker. You need a backup quarterback. You don't need a number 3 receiver.
But he's not a number 3 until JMO, as we talked last night, proves himself in 2023.
Fine.
Is that?
Fine.
Am I wrong?
You win. No. No. No.
Why do you not like him?
It's just like I said last night, man. If he comes back at a low enough price tag, if he's expecting another deal for $10 million a year, absolutely not.
Okay.
It's just he's like a Wish.com Marvin Jones.
Wow. Really? No, that was
Sorry,
amazing.
Sub-assembly required.
A Wish.com Marvin Jones. Really?
Yep. I didn't like it when they signed him last year. I wouldn't like it if they signed him
Wow.
again this year.
Why? 16.7 yards per reception. That's significant.
$5 million a year. I'll shut
It's
up.
not going to be $5 million a year. The lowest it would probably be is 8.5 to 9.
Pass. Hard pass.
Not all cap hit though, but that money tied up.
I just don't see the value. I don't see the value.
Well, we can agree to disagree. That's fine. That's fine. You want to spend the rest of the free agent stuff on defense. I need a backup quarterback first.
Yeah.
And then Shark. Like, if Teddy Bridgewater's not there, then I'm signing Shark. Because I'll just draft a quarterback at that point. There's no other quarterbacks worth signing. Unless Carson Wentz is intriguing. I don't love it.
That would be so weird. I don't know. I mean, he's played some really bad football. He's had some really good moments, like really early on, but this been a drought.
I agree.
Good moments.
I don't know, Neil. I don't know. We're not going to solve the world's problems tonight, but we are going to give the people something to talk about, which we did. Who do you agree with? Who should the Lions try to sign? Should it be Calais Campbell? Should it be Bobby Wagner? Should it be Teddy Bridgewater or DJ Shark? I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of Lions fans that agree with me on TJ Shark because they love their Lions, which is okay. Because we love the Lions too. That's why we do this show. And we are doing this show now 4 times a week. Live on Monday, live on Thursday. We drop another show on Tuesday at 5 and Friday at 5 as well. So make sure that if you are on YouTube, you have subscribed and you have hit that like button on this video and all of our videos. Make sure you share them so that we can spread the wealth to everybody that you know. And if you haven't yet, make sure you pound that notification bell so you can get notifications every time the content drops and be notified when we go live. He is Neil Brush from Rain City Roar, filling in for Eric Vincent. I am AJ Riley, the regular host of your favorite Detroit sports show, Beyond the Box. Neil, thanks for stopping by. Even if you disagree with me,
no problem.
That's okay.
If they sign Shark, I'm never coming back.
Okay, so if they don't sign Shark, then you are coming back. All right, okay. Sounds good. We will see you all Thursday night live at 9 o'clock. Have a good week.